Hey, how's it going? Do me a favor, if you happen to be catching this video live, do me a favor, hit pound live. And if you happen to be catching this video via the replay, do me a favor, hit pound replay. The thing that I want to talk about today is, where does the gap exist? Because in your marketplace, in all industries, there's gaps that exist. And once you can identify the gap, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to niche down and you're going to be able to serve your specific audience, because there's other companies and other organizations that are just not willing to solve the gap. So you need to be able to identify and or find the gap. I don't know, maybe 20 plus years ago, when I was first introduced to a career that I had started in the industry of financial aid. I was working in the financial aid industry, and I didn't know much about the financial aid industry at the time. I just started working in it. And several months in working into the industry, I found out that myself and all of the people who were working at that department at that time were basically giving feedback to the company to ask the company to get an updated operating system. Financial aid and the delivery of financial aid is a very complex process, and at the time we had an operating system, but the joke around the office at the time was, man, you guys are using an operating system that was built in the 1950s. But you know, we used that operating system for a couple of years while I was working there, and we made it work. And at some point in time, the company decided to upgrade. The company decided to get an operating system that was more modern, that was more up to date, and everyone was pretty happy. We started using this operating system, and this operating system made our life just that much more easier, right? So we thought. A couple of months in, we started using this operating system, and we just started to find some gaps. And as we found those gaps, we provided the feedback to the appropriate person to say, hey, you know what? These are the gaps that this operating system have. We need the operating system to be able to do these different things and or to be able to solve these different gaps. And guess what? The person that was running the operating system owner at the time, said, you know what? These are not the problems that we solve. We will not be able to help you to solve these different gaps. You have to either hire additional staff to be able to solve these problems manually, and or find a company that solves these problems. And at the time, I was pretty shocked. And the reason why I was shocked is because I thought to myself, man, this company pretty much had it all together from an operating system standpoint. They did have it together. They had it together as it relates to certain components. They had it together as it relates to solving certain problems, and they had made it clear. They had drew a sand in the line that said, hey, these are the problems we're going to solve as it relates to financial aid. These are the problems we're going to solve as it relates to providing a school with the operating system that helps them to deliver financial aid. And there's just other problems that we're not going to solve, right? So I was kind of very surprised by that. But then again, at some point later down the line, I went into this whole entrepreneurship game. And when I went into this whole entrepreneurship thing, I remember one of the first things I wanted to solve was lead generation and a marketing issue. I had launched my dating site, and I had some issues with making things work from a lead generation and a marketing standpoint. And I remember coming across an amazing company, and that company was pretty well versed from a marketing standpoint. It was pretty well versed from a Facebook ad standpoint. And I remember working with this company, and this company helped me to solve some of my problems, and there was just some gaps, right? So I'm telling you all of this to say that in every company that solves a problem, there's also other problems that may exist. The same thing is true for your marketplace. When I learned how to do Facebook ads, the problem and or the gap that still existed for me was content creation. I didn't necessarily have a methodology, I didn't have a way, and I didn't know how to create and or publish content for my individual funnels. The first company that I came across, they showed me how to do Facebook ads, but they were not in the business of showing you how to create content. So then there was a gap that existed, and the way that I solved that gap is I went to an individual that showed me how to solve that problem, that showed me how to create content. So I am saying all of this to say, in your marketplace, sometimes we look at companies, sometimes we look at individuals, sometimes we look at influencers, and we say to ourselves, oh my gosh, this person is a giant. they do what they do so well. And I agree with you. There's a lot of companies that do what they do so well. There's a lot of individuals that do what they do so well. But at the same time, they cannot solve every single problem that exists in the marketplace. So your job and or my job is to say, you know what? This individual is solving this problem, this problem, this problem, but what gaps exist in the marketplace? So go find those specific gaps, and then once you find those gaps, your job is essentially to say, hey, target market, I know that you're trying to solve this overall problem, and I know that this is the gap that you have that exists, and this is how I can go ahead and help you to solve that gap and solve that problem in the marketplace. One of the things that I always thought is that I had to solve 20 different problems for my marketplace. And in all actuality, you don't have to solve 20 different problems for your marketplace. You can just solve one nagging problem, and that one nagging problem, people will pay you for it. I remember when I was working in the financial aid industry, when I was first introduced to this new operating system. They said that, you know what, this one nagging problem, we had a couple of different gaps, but they said to themselves, hey, this one nagging gap, we're not going to solve it. So we have to go out and find someone and or find a system to solve it. That's true for my industry. That is also true for your industry as well. So your homework is find that one nagging problem, find the gap, solve it, right? And then let your audience know, hey, this is the gap that you have, and this is how I can go ahead and help you to solve that gap. If you happen to be catching this video live, do me a favor, hit pound live. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you happen to be catching this via the replay, do me a favor, hit pound replay, and let me know where you are tuning in from. That's it. That's all I have for now. I'll talk to you soon.